Armstrong.
Armstrong.
Savannah State.
All right. I started to write stories when I was probably, wait a minute. I probably started when I was 8 years old, and I did it, I think, originally because I missed a year of school. I had tonsillitis and some kind of a heart thing that passed off. So that year I was home, and I was in bed a lot of the time. I guess it was starting. And I started by reading comic books, and then I would make up my own comic stories about Superman and Batman, and then I started to write my own stories. My mother was very encouraging. She was never, fall down at your feet kind of thing, like, oh, Stevie, you're terrific. But she said that she liked the stories, and she liked to pass them on to her sisters. She had 4 sisters, and she said, if I would write stories, she would pay me $0.25 apiece for them. And that was my first freelance. That was my first freelance job. So I made a few bucks that way. She gave me a typewriter for my birthday at some point. At that point, I was reading a lot. And one of the things that I resist was telling you must do this or you must do that. But I can tell you that if you're not reading a lot, you're losing some weapons that you would otherwise have in your quiver. So I read a lot, and another thing I remember my mother saying was that she would say, move that milk to the bottom shelf. She said milk takes the flavor of whatever it's next to in the icebox. That's just one of those long things, Like if you don't wear your rubbers outside, you'll get sick or this and that and the other thing. And they're bullshit, but they stick in your eyes. It's the same. But it's true for writers, I think, when you're beginning. You take the flavor of whatever you're reading at that time. So that if I read Edgar Allan Poe, I wrote like Edgar Allan Poe. If I was reading Ray Bradbury, everything turned into a Ray Bradbury kind of thing. That affliction finally passed for me, I think, when I was in college. It was a really schizophrenic time for me because I fell under the spell of 2 very different writers. One was William Faulkner and the other was Raymond Chandler. So I would get up in the morning and write something that sounded like Snopes, Wendy Snopes and all that, and these long sentences. And in the afternoon, everything turned hard-boiled on me, But that's part of the process of just writing, and little by little, you develop your own way, your own style. Style is a word they use in college a lot. It's a mysterious word that to me has almost no meaning whatsoever. I mean, you might as well talk about the style of your face when you look in the mirror in the morning. Okay, there is such a thing as style, I guess, but it's always a conscious thing. It's the way you dress, it's this, that, and the other thing. But you can't change your fingerprints, you can't change your voice, you can't change the way that you express yourself. After a while, as you get older, that starts to come on its own. So don't worry about it. Just read and just write your shit. That's all. And anyway, I started to submit stories to various magazines. The ones that I liked, the ones that I read, were some of the fantasy magazines, some of the science fiction magazines, mystery magazines. I also sent stuff to the Atlantic Monthly if it was felt like that kind of thing. Obviously, you have to read the market because there's some stories that they will look at a straight magazine. There aren't as many as there used to be. But the opposite side of that is there's a lot more stuff online. I know that I look very young, but there was no online. I got all the usual rejection letters, the printed ones, and every now and then you get a line at the bottom that an actual human being had written on it. This isn't so bad. And I treasured I had a nail that was pounded into my wall in my bedroom, and I put the rejection slips on that nail. And eventually, the nail tore right out of the wall, and they all went on the floor. So I put them all on the desk drawer, put the nail on, and started the fresh batch. The first story I sold, I think I was 19 or 20 years old when I sold it to a magazine called Star Industry Stories. The check was for $35. I was insane with joy. This was after like maybe 600 rejections, maybe not that many, maybe it just seemed like that, but I was totally fucking insane. You know, I just screamed the house down. And that was, well, I can't say it was my big break, it was just my first sale. And I advanced after that to sales of as much as $35 for a while. Teaching is dangerous for writers. Okay? Teaching is dangerous for writers. Sometimes it's the only safe harbor you can find. There are plenty of writers in colleges who have contracts that allow them time to write, but I always felt a little bit like the kids were terrific. It was like a jumper kid who took up 10 years. You know? They were taking a lot out, but I was still writing, and I wrote a book called Carrie that I think was very good. It actually started out as a short story, and to my surprise, double they bought it. It was only $2,500, but it allowed us to replace our car, which was dying of death of the cancer and transmission. And as I said, we had a couple of kids, and I can remember one night, my wife and I were lying in bed, and she said, "Will there be any more money for this?" And I said, "Well, it might be a paperback sale." And she said, "How much do you think that might amount to?" And I said, "It might be $60,000, but we would have to split it with the publisher, but 30 would be enough to live on for a year. I could write another book full time." And she said, "Well, I hope that happens." I got a call in the house by myself, and my editor, John, they said, "We sold the paperback rights." And I said, "How much did you get?" And he said, $400,000. And the strength went on my knees. I was in this ratty apartment, you know, sort of a town environment. I just sort of slid down. So I was sitting in the doorway between the kitchen and the living room. And I said, "You said $40,000, right?" And Bill said, "No, $400,000. And I just walked around the house. I mean, I didn't know what to do or what to think. My wife wasn't there. I couldn't celebrate. It was Sunday. I wanted to get her a present. I finally decided I had to get my wife a present. So I went out, and it was Sunday, and we were in Bangor, Maine. Everything was closed except for the Rexall drugstore. So I went and bought her hair. And that's how I became a writer. I guess a big shot right now. People treat me sometimes like I'm a big shot. I don't really like it. It makes me uneasy. I don't really know how to take it. I'm certainly not treated like a big shot at home. Believe me. But I guess what I want to say, and I'm going to take some questions, is that there's no mystery about me, okay? I mean, it's wonderful that you came to see me, and it's wonderful that you clapped and everything. And I'm sure every now and then it sort of comes to me that people have read my stories and the stories made them happy. You know, it passes time, maybe on an airplane or maybe in a period where you don't feel so well. I'll tell you one other thing. Until December 28th of last year, I felt like I was 40. And by December 29th, I felt like I was 90. I had one of these comic diseases we used to laugh about when we were kids. It's called sciatica. And it just started with a little bit of pain in the back. And the next thing you know, I can't walk, I can't lie down, I can't sleep. I'm going to the doctor and saying, drugs, hard drugs. They give you a few, but they don't waste that shit on people that actually So, but listen, you know, so there were a lot of nights when I was up late and not feeling very good, and I found these books that I just totally ignored. It's a series of 5 books called A Song of Ice and Fire. George R. R. Martin. And I fell into those books. The guy is just a natural Ball storyteller. And it took me out of myself. And that's a priceless gift. That's a wonderful thing to have. But there's no mystery about me. There is a mystery about what it is that I do and what you do. And that is the actual act of writing, which has always made me really happy and really privileged to do it. And it's mysterious. When it comes, it comes. And it's just, it lifts you up. And it's a great thing. This is something that I think a lot of times that they don't talk about, which is the mystery of the actual. That's the art part of the craft of it, is just putting your ass in a chair and saying, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to try to get people to read what I do, and so on and so forth. But it's a great job. But just remember, it's just us guys, basically, doing something that's maybe a little bit easier on the muscles in the body than opponent. It's a good thing. You have questions? Do you have something you want to ask? Yeah.
I just want to say that I really, really enjoyed Maximum Overdrive.
Maximum Overdrive. One of the few. That kid enjoyed that.
You really like it yourself when you're finished, but I want to say that you did a really great job, and I was wondering if you were ever planning on trying your hand at directing again, because I would personally be really interested in that.
I wouldn't mind directing.
What's the question?
I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But it was a case of, that's the other thing about getting to the now and this sort of thing. You find out that, you know how that old saying about giving him enough rope he'll hang himself? Well, when we've got some now, you can get enough rope and hang yourself in Times Square. This division, case in point, Whitney Houston, okay? That's a terrible story, but it's a comedy. The only reason it's wall is because, well, you know what I'm saying. But I would like to direct a movie. It would be nice to do, as I say now, but movies have never been my main focus. I love them, but basically